Good evening, everybody. I'm Tracy Welch, the host of tonight's LGBTQ Voice. We are very excited to announce that our show, the LGBTQ Voice, now has a new home at New Bedford Public Access TV on Channel 95. The LGBTQ Voice is a project of the South Coast LGBTQ Network. The network is a collaboration of LGBTQ groups and allied organizations in the South Coast of Massachusetts who are committed to building and maintaining a comprehensive support network for LGBTQ individuals and families across the age spectrum. Each week, our guests will talk about concerns, current events, available resources, history, health and wellness, and what is and has been impacting our community. So tonight we'll be talking about Pride Cafe, a social support group for the 18-plus LGBT community. Pride Cafe is a drug, sex, alcohol, discrimination-free space. Our guest tonight is Joan Stratton, founder of Pride Cafe. Welcome, and thank you for being our first guest at our new home.
Wonderful, thanks.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and maybe South Coast Equality, how Pride Cafe came about?
All right, well, I got involved with the gay community in New Bedford back with A-Glass back in the mid-90s. And I grew out of that when A-Glass disappeared, and then I went to graduate school, and it took all my time, so I was not involved at all. Once I graduated, the Marriage Equality Coalition had reorganized, and since they had marriage equality, they didn't need it anymore. So we took it over and we renamed it as South Coast Equality. The first year that I was involved was 2008, and we did our first Pride celebration at Wings Court in New Bedford. And it was word of mouth, and a bunch of us put it together in a very short time, and we had a couple hundred people show up and had a really good time. The next year, I ran the first Pride at Custom House Square with a stage and entertainers and vendors and all that stuff, and that kept up for a few years until I got involved in trying to start a new career, and my friends that were helping me adopted their grandson, so they didn't have time to do it anymore, so we had to kind of regroup. And so we didn't have Pride for a couple of years, and I believe you did the Pride at
I did. I did take it on, asking you guys.
At the place for a couple of years.
Yep, I did. I felt that it was important not have a Pride event.
It was. You're right. And once we found out that the South Coast LGBTQ network was starting up, I got involved in that immediately as a representative of South Coast Equality, and I've been there ever since. And I kind of want to. So my master's is in social work, so it's a natural for me to want to do social support. So in November 2011, yep, we held our first Pride Cafe at the Unitarian Church on 8th Street. And we didn't have many people show up. We had a few, but I reached out to Nico.
Shout out to Nico Torino.
Nico Torini.
Yep.
And he said, yeah, the church wants to do, welcoming congregation would like to do something, so why don't we get together? So we did, and we did it every other week, every first and third Mondays. For years. Yep. Nico and I were there. Neither one of us missed very often. Yep. And we had a variety of different people that showed up. Some came in, a few times, and then we have a core group that would show up for a while. And mostly what it was just a place for us to all to meet without having to be in a bar.
Yep. I think it's important. I know for a little bit there, I was part of Pride Cafe, and I was going the first and third Monday of the month, and we would get confused. Did we meet last Monday? Did we meet the Monday before?
Right.
And it was confusing for us, never mind the community. I think I have one funny story, and you guys know I love to tell my funny stories. Lucas was there one night, and Lucas was at one point Miss South Coast Equality.
Miss South Coast Equality.
And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in the cafeteria room, and I see some black thing flowing by, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? All of a sudden, and then we realized it was a bat. Lucas and I, the little babies that we are, ran behind, closed the door. They have like a shed thing you want to close down for the kitchen. We left you all. We were like, and the bat, we had opening it up and seeing the bat, and we finally got the bat to go out,
yeah.
Right? One of the things I liked about, the Pride Cafe, was just so many things that we do. We all wear many hats. I can't be at all the events and whatnot, or all the things that go on in our community. I like that people had a place to go. And I like that the UU Church was accepting. And it was close for everybody. And some of our youth, we actually had one of our Halloween dances upstairs at the UU Church. Nico was going to try and be here today, but he's got other commitments and whatnot. But Nico is just so involved in the LGBT community and Pride Cafe and whatnot. So I know you want to get people out of the bar scene and things like that. What was your vision? What did you see or think would happen with this group?
Well, I was kind of hoping that we'd have a pretty regular crowd. I think being on a Monday night, it's difficult, and because people have to work the next day, and sometimes they don't want to be out and about on a work night. But we have a pretty steady core group at this point that comes to the event, the cafe. Since we switched it over to Pleasant Street, to the center, it's been every week instead of every first and third, which was confusing, but those were the days they were available at the church, so that was the only day we could get the space. So it was kind of nice to make the move to the perfect place.
So what happened was, for the audience members, that the Perfect Place is a LGBTQ youth center that's utilized by youth ages 14 to 24. So we kept asking our youth, wouldn't it be nice to have other people to have a home? Well, our kids would say to us, well, when I come back, I know that my cup's going to be there. If somebody else comes on different nights, how do I know that my cup's going to be there, my chip's going to be there, and whatnot? Because some of these kids don't have, the essentials that you think kids should have. And after 3 years, our kids finally said yes. So we invited Pride Cafe to come every Monday night, and it's utilized every Monday night. So just for reference, it's 484 Pleasant Street from 7 to 9 at night. And again, it's just a welcoming space. Just one thing, it's not handicapped accessible. It's an old building downtown. So I want to kind of put that out there. But again, it is alcohol-free, drug-free, sex discrimination-free space. And that's the same thing for our youth. So once our youth age out, or they get a little bit older, Pride Cafe is good for them to go to, because I've been here on every Thursday, and you know what, maybe I don't want to be around a 14-year-old anymore. I'm 18, 19, 20, and now they go, oh, you know what, I'm still home, and now I'm there on Monday nights with Pride Cafe. So I kind of like how, that kind of happened. So how did you guys come up with the name Pride Cafe?
It was just sort of a natural, since it was a coffee shop idea. A social place where you could sit around and talk and whatever, and so Pride just made sense. And actually, I think Nico was the one that came up with it, to be honest about it.
That's
between
funny.
the two of us, it just sort of evolved into that, and then we put a flyer together and put something on Facebook, and never had the time to keep it updated because it was, we were both working full time, and
I think it's important for people to know that this is all volunteer work. It's
It
not
is.
like, we're getting paid for these extra things, or Joni's getting paid when she's doing Pride Cafe. And Joni also is on the board of the South Coast LGBTQ Network, so there's a lot of hats that Joni wears as well. And I know Nico couldn't be here tonight, but I saw Nico at the Senior Supper Club last month with, I'll say his fiance. But it's just nice to see everybody in the community still after all these years. I know I'll always promote Pride Cafe, even when I wasn't part of the South Coast Equality anymore. I think it's important to have a safe place for people to go. And I like that it's at the center. The parking is right downtown, the main street. People can walk around, do dinner, and come over to Pride Cafe afterwards. So what do folks do at Pride Cafe?
well, it depends on what everybody consensus. We either have a talk about current events or what's going on in the world, or sometimes we have a movie night, variety of movies.
Oh, so the movie night, I know one of the movies you guys showed was 3 Generations. So I thought that was really, really nice to do. And I know we saw it at the Winter Film Series as well. So if you guys get a chance to see that, 3 Generations, check that out. But it was just amazing to see, the people come out. If we advertise ahead of time, or you, like you're saying, I was still part of South Coast Equality, when you advertise ahead of time on Pride Cafe, and it's on Facebook. So Pride Cafe has its own Facebook page. You just check it out. It's Pride Cafe, and you kind of see what's going on with that.
If somebody posts something.
Yeah. Well, and again, people need to take active roles. So I know Nate couldn't be with us tonight. So Nate actually opens the center and closes the center. Again, we all wear many hats, and we're trying to pawn off something to somebody. But it's nice for the next generation to pick up the slack and take it and move with it. So Nate is our correspondent right now with Pride Cafe. And you guys have questions about Pride Cafe, you can certainly private message on Pride Cafe or info at the South Coast email, which is sclgbtqnetwork.org. It's the info at, and that actually does all our programs and things like that. Or PM, the little thing on Instant Messenger for Pride Cafe. And again, somebody will answer you back your questions and things like that.
If anybody looks.
Yeah, if anybody looks. Yeah, again, you know, I know you guys had a lasagna night this past year.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
I've had a couple of pizza nights. Always a struggle to figure out what kind of pizza to get because everybody
Or
likes
how
different.
much, because you don't know if 18 people are going to show up or two,
Never
right?
do, right? So there's usually a base of at least 4 people usually show up at least. But some nights other people drop. I've had some people drop in just unannounced and just looking for something, heard about it from a relative or a friend and thought they'd come check it out. Of course, if they get there on a night they're showing a weird movie and they're not interested in that movie, they don't stay, but maybe they come back later. I don't, you know.
Yeah, well, we were there a couple Thursdays ago for one of our meetings, and after our youth, and we have a meeting once a month with the adult advisors and peer leaders, and somebody's like, oh, you're open, we have a question for you. This is, you know, a kid happened to come in, she goes to Fall River Public Schools and wanted to check the place out, but her mom worked next door, and no one was ever there. So one thing we're working on for the network, as you know, is to have a, I don't want to say we're not a real shelter, I mean a center, we are, but we want to have open operations during the day, clinician work, rooms to be able to do that, HIV testing. I know you're a therapist, you
Need
know.
a little bigger place for that.
We definitely need a bigger place for that, and it's in the works. It's probably, we'll call it our 3-year plan. You know, we've been planning so much in the community.
Now that we've got Andy on as the board president,
Yep.
he knows a lot of people and he's going out and he's really excited to be doing the work. So we're going to be having meetings and try with health providers and all kinds of stuff for that as well, so we can expand our services more, which is a good thing as a network.
Yeah. So what Johnny was saying is Rebecca McCullough has just stepped down as our president, and shout out to Rebecca. When I go to different events and talk up to different prides, and I say this over and over again, I always hear that, oh, it's a man who's in charge of the presidency, how do you guys feel about stuff like that? It was a surveys or people are, you know, just talks in general. And I'm like, oh, well, we have a female president. Oh my God, that's great you do. And I'm going,
And she's
straight. I say that, I'm not going to say that. And she's straight. People are like, what? Our community needs allies and forces to be to run together and take us to the next step.
At least 3 of our board members from the last year were straight women.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing. And Andy Pollock has just taken over right now, and Andy Pollock was instrumental in marriage equality with Liz and Bev. If it wasn't for them pushing legislation, marriage equality would have been, you know, the first state to pass in Massachusetts. So I'm really excited to have Andy as our president. You know.
So am I, and he's really been chasing around. Of course, he went on vacation, so everything stopped. But
yeah, he's away. His Facebook page is quite funny. So if you guys didn't know, the network is kind of broken up into different event groups, so we have events, social justice, and development and fundraising groups right now. I know the events committee meets the 3rd Wednesday of every month at Groundworks, which is 1213 Purchase Street. So again, I know I'm in the chair of the events committee, so I know when I'm meeting. Everybody else has their own. You guys can go to our website, www.sclgbtqnetwork.org, and click all the different links. And you also on that be able to hit what's happening and see what's happening. So you'll be able to see that Pride Cafe is there. I'm actually going to pull our plug right now because I have my little cheat sheet. Again, Pride Cafe is every Monday night from 7 to 9, and it's a local support group. Our NB Agley, A Perfect Place, is every Thursday night from 5 to 7, and that's ages 14 to 24. So one of the things that I want to let people know is the reason why we do 24 is there's so much need for our youth in the community right now. HIV has been on the rise for, I can't tell you how many years right now, and it's men having sex with other men and transgender women, and it's ages 14 to 24. So 14-year-olds are out there, and we need to help them. Those 24-year-olds are out there, and we need to be able to help them as well. And again, some Agleys do 22, but we do 24 because of HIV has been on the rise. Again, check out some of our different programming, but I wanted to let you guys know about the LGBTQ Senior Supper Club. It is held on the fourth Wednesday of every month from 5 to 7 in Fairhaven. I try and go quarterly just to keep up with people, say hi, what's going on, because a lot of those guys aren't on Facebook and social media. So because of TWIST, Seven Hills Behavioral Health, they actually had a monthly calendar that they put out there. So I stole their idea, and Eileen updates it every month now. So we're going to start doing that regularly. So you can go on our calendar and see what's going on Monday nights, Thursday nights, Friday night yogas. There's a yoga series, so you can kind of check that out. And all those things are free. Free. Let me check that out. Free. I love saying that. And we just started an LGBTQ bereavement support group, and right now it's this one's going to be ending by the time this one probably airs, but we're going to want to try and keep that going for LGBTQ that have lost a loved one. So one of the things we talked about earlier is game night. I know that at the center there's the big Jenga. Is that the big Jenga blocks on the floor that people like to play? And I think one of the things I like is that we're trying to do different things and bring out different ideas. So if you're part of Pride Cafe, it's y'all decide what you want to do. I know this past summer they did a bike ride to Fort Tabor.
Yeah.
And a handful of people took a bike ride and enjoyed the day. Some of the folks go to South Coast Pride and volunteer and help for the day. And that's usually the first Saturday in June. And one big thing that they've done the last 2 years is they paid money for a bus to go to P-Town, and I believe it was $10 the last 2 years. And
First year it was free.
Yeah, what, honey?
The first year it was free.
Yeah, but it costs a little bit of money each time that we do things. So I think this year it was $10. And
Still
I know,
cheap.
Yeah, we got some amazing pictures. I know that we have the unicorn. I know they went early and set up or helped set up because several people from our organization in AHA Pride, which we're part of, were actually asked to carry the banner in front of the Stonewall veterans this year. I got a call from them asking, and because of my issues with my body right now, I'm not able to do a lot. So I just want to give a shout out to Joni, Eileen, Kevin, Maureen, who are part of the South Coast LGBT Network family, and Mandy and Nicole, who are part of the AHA Pride family. And Mandy actually has just joined our events committee. So those guys marched with the banner, so you guys will be seeing that picture up. I guess ahead of time they had rainbow balloons, people were getting ready. They had a unicorn on a truck, so it was just kind of trying to figure out the pictures that you'll see. What a blast everybody had setting up. But Carnival is just an amazing event, and I'm hoping, that everybody would be able to go again next year.
It's a long day, but it's fun.
It is. I know the bus leaves here, say, 8 o'clock in the morning or so, 7:38, and then you leave P-Town at 9 o'clock at night. So you don't have to worry about the traffic and driving, because it could take you hours to get in by car, and, and at least you have a bus ride up, and friends to hang out with, music, bring your food, bring your beverages.
You don't have to pay $40 for parking.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to park a mile away, walk into town. You can bring your own lunch and sit at the beach all day. It's your day to figure out, but it's part of the Pride community, part of the Pride Cafe, and everything they do doesn't not necessarily have to be inside the center. We did an event this year for the 50th anniversary of Stonewall, and we did some things with marketing with Gallery X. They helped share our information, and this June coming up, we actually have the entire month of June is ours. So the network actually will be paying for the whole month of June. We'll be doing this whole bunch of stuff at Gallery X.
That's cool.
So while I was there for our meeting, somebody was there. You're supposed to present and have a presentation and have it all written out. He came with an idea. So I kind of helped him out and said, why don't you go to Pride Cafe? He wanted to know if they could go there and have a paint night. Well, that's terrific, but they want to know who's paying for it. What are you doing with that? And all kinds of things. They didn't have that presented. So I suggested that, we talk about possibly the network helping you and go to Pride Cafe. You can do a paint night, maybe not in the center, but you can go out to, New Bedford Arts Museum, where they have like the claymation down, I call it claymation, the clay works. We can do these different paint nights and pay for it. We have the funding. South Coast Equality made money and had money left over from when it dissipated. That money came to the network. So people were asking me that at the beginning. The money is there, folks.
Yeah, and I brought about $4,000 from the South Coast Equality. And then, of course, Rebecca's been amazing at writing grant proposals. And
so it's not just the kids, the seniors, the Pride Cafe. Rebecca and Eileen write all these grants to make sure we have the funding to do these events.
It's been a team effort all from the very start.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I like about our community. You know, after the 50th anniversary Stonewall event, I just think we were here, and now I think we're here, and I want to keep that momentum
It's
going.
still growing.
Yeah.
The supper club's been a big success.
Oh my God. I went, what is it, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people?
At least.
At
Yeah.
least.
And they're coming from as far away as Attleboro and Falmouth. And
well, one of the things about our events committee and Pride Cafe, and people do come from far away. We have somebody that comes from Cranston, Rhode Island to help, because they said, I love Rhode Island Pride. And I love that, but after that, everybody does their own thing. And as a group, a community, how do we come together and help each other out? So we have somebody that comes from Cranston, Rhode Island, that has joined our events committee and actually volunteers at our events that we do. I just think it's important to keep the momentum going and keep sharing what we're doing. It's just an amazing work that you started. I know that Nate couldn't be here today, but it's nice just to see. Like I said, I try and get there and just say hi when I can. I went by one night and stayed for an hour, just kind of talking to folks, and Twist showed up. Twist is out there. Twist is, I don't say sex positive, but they do HIV testing. They talk about PrEP. They talk about so many things.
a lot of education.
Yeah, and I just think it's important that, if you want to come to Pride Cafe and you want to bring yourself or your organization to talk to the folks there, set it up. They'd be more than glad to have you guys come in and talk to the group and see what you have to offer. We talk about the health situations and whatnot that are going on in the community. If you guys want to have people, elected officials, you want to talk to them at Pride Cafe and invite them to hear their side, bring them on. I know for us, for the network and the LGBTQ voice, we are neutral.
We have to be nonprofit.
Yeah, we are nonprofit, but I just want to let you guys know, who we choose to do on our own is for us. But if you guys want to hear an individual and see what they have to say, you can invite them. It's your space to do. So it would be great to be able to go out and do the painting night. And
It would.
I think one night, I'm getting confused if it was Pride Cafe or our youth group, but they ended up going, Tuesday nights, it's $5 night. So I think they met out one time to do the movies at AMC or not.
I think Pride did that at one
Pride
point.
Cafe, just to kind of go out. So we have the funding to, when I say we, the network supports Pride Cafe, so we kind of always keep an eye on who's got how much money to spend and to do these things. So one of the things I think about Pride Cafe when I do go see or visit is the diversity. We have trans individuals, we have young individuals, we have sometimes we have older individuals.
When I go there, we have an older individual.
Oh, I don't say ages unless you want it, Joni.
No, that's okay.
But I just think it's amazing that, I remember. And I laugh because one person used to go when we were at the UU church, and she thought it was a dating site. She would just show up and check out the lesbians and see who she could take home. It's not a dating site. It's a social support network. And she didn't come back. She came back the next time, but that was it.
Yeah, we had one week when a bunch of the lesbians that used to have a lesbian social group.
Yeah.
They all showed up at once. They came that one night and they never came back.
It never came back.
Don't know why.
Yep, don't exactly. I was actually there that particular night, and I don't know why. And what's really funny is, where are all these people? We try and find them. We talked about the voting. Only 9.5% of people in New Bedford, and it's the same thing around like the whole South Coast. That less than 10% of people are voting. How do we get these people involved? So when we do have events, our social justice committee has been coming to our events and asking people, have they signed up? That we actually have a laptop there that people can sign in online and get things
working
ready.
on doing a voter registration and involvement stuff through the social justice.
Yeah, so like I said, when we have our events, I've been doing that. Like I said, it's just amazing to see us on an upswing. And if you guys have any comments, concerns, about Pride Cafe, I know that we wear many hats. You can email info@sclgbtqnetwork.org, and we'll put that up on the screen for you, because I know I talk a little bit fast. If you have any questions for me, you can hit me up at tracy@sclgbtqnetwork.org.
Yeah.
I know we only have a couple minutes left. But Joni is a therapist and could help people in the community. She has her own business over in Mattapoisett. So I just want to make sure that, again, if you guys need assistance, that Joni can help you guys on that end as well. I'm just looking forward. So what do you think of our new studio?
This is a lot different than the other one. I think the other thing, though, is that if people have suggestions or something they'd like to see us do, they should let us know.
Definitely.
Because I mean, we're just a bunch of people, the same bunch of people every week, every month that meets. So we don't really have any new ideas other than ones we've already been germinating for decades.
Well, I'm proud to say that right now we have 16 people on our events committee instead of just me, or you, and you, Eileen.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
And the social justice committee's got, I don't know for sure, but at least 10 or 12.
Yeah. So I'm just excited that we're growing and people are taking vested interest.
And the fact that we have 20-something volunteers.
Correct. And yeah, and every Pride, correct. We actually do a lineup now, responsibilities, here's your job description, here's your job tasks, and we kind of float it out to everybody and kind of see where people can fit in what for that. I'm just excited to where we're going. We're on an uphill swing. I know I'm very excited that each week that we do the show, I know we're actually going to be having 5 more people do episodes because we're in our training right now, but we're going to try and figure out what time slot we'll be able to have the show in. We'll be able to take cameras off-site, which is amazing. The studio is amazing, but we have cameras. We'll be able to go to the Fairhaven Council on Aging, people that can't get out. We can go to Mattapoisett. We can go to, Fall River. Fall River Pride is the day after ours and do different taping, edit them, and then do different shows. So I'm excited for that part. It's just getting used to this. Not being live and editing, things like that would be a little bit different for us. But again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want us to do, please just hit me up. I'd be more than glad to get back to you. And again, it's Tracy at sclgbtqnetwork.org.
Tracy with an I.
Tracy with an I. Yeah, I know, I talk fast. All right, guys, that's about it, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.